You know how people that work for the state, obviously, or connected to it in terms of their money is lined by state money, some way, shape, or form, through grant, loan, subsidy of some kind, or again, they are a literal government employee. They're going to be the most protected of it, most protective of it, excuse me, while also they're going to be completely out of the realm of reality. This last year showed you that, in that these guys exist in a completely different stratosphere in the rest of the world, which is why it was so easy for them to think that a policy that was as disastrous and destructive as it was, and that is, hey, we're going to pretend that the economy is a light switch and just turn it off and then turn it back on a little bit after the fact, just because we want to slow the spread, right? And obviously 2 weeks turned into a year there, but you get what I'm saying, in that it had disastrous results in the terms of people losing their jobs, losing their livelihoods in the process, losing savings because they had to dip into it to try to just remain afloat. And they're so just disconnected. You have to understand, when it comes to how disastrous their policies are, they're not the ones that are going to feel the brunt of it. And this is why it's always hilarious that you think people like even doctors and scientists who are economically illiterate, most of them are, their expertise isn't in economics. So it doesn't matter how much of an expert they think they are in terms of the medical stuff, the economic stuff, they're completely oblivious. So it's easy for them, though, because they're guaranteed their jobs. They're going to continue to get money one way, shape, or form, because they don't, number one, they don't have to play by the same rules. But when they have some sort of policy implemented, they're not the ones that are going to feel the brunt of it in the event that it's a disastrous policy. Let's look at this. It's covered by obviously New York Post, and they're talking about the Biden aid, saying that Americans could have sacrificed more. And I don't have the video here. I should have shown the video. We'll just talk about it real quick. Former top coronavirus advisor to the Biden administration says that Americans should have done a little bit better. Do better. You hear that all the time, don't you? Andy Slavitt, who stepped down recently as a senior advisor to COVID-19 response coordinator Jeffrey Zients, last week told CBS this morning that while we would have had a pandemic here in the U.S., no matter what, Americans need to look at one another and ask ourselves, what do we do? What do we need to do better next time? And in many respects, being able to, this guy here, man, this is what he says. And in many respects, being able to sacrifice a little bit for one another to get through this and to save more lives is going to be essential. And that's something that I think we could have done a little bit better. So the millions upon millions of people that were put out of work, that wasn't enough, guys. You should have did a little more. One of your loved ones, because their lives just were upended. They were changed just like that. Drove themselves to some mental capacity that they really lost, but they're in a place that they shouldn't be. And maybe they did something to themselves. You should have did a little more. See, I know for statists, and a lot of statists do watch my show, and I get it. It's you can't possibly understand why guys like myself have such a deep hatred for the government, the state. This is just yet another example of this. Now, I've said time and time again, the state itself is obviously an institution that is immoral. Nonetheless, some of you guys feel like this is a necessary evil. I would disagree with that. Nonetheless, it exists. It is. But there are a lot of evil sons of bitches that are attracted to it because of the power it is that they wield. But also, again, it is it's you get to proof yourself in a lot better ways. So when you see congressmen and congresswomen, be it pontificating, lecturing you about, hey guys, you can't go back to work. You need to take a step back and think how much of an asshole that person has to be to make such a claim. Why are they doing it? Well, again, they do not abide by the rules of the market. You want to know why, and this is to put this in context for you guys that don't really understand where I am an anarcho-capitalist, I'm a libertarian, and teaching you some economic lessons here, right? You want to wonder why the state it doesn't seem to actually, it does get progressively worse, for lack of better terms. Some of you guys think, well, people aren't voting right, all of these different things. No. You need to understand the actual nature of what it is. It is an institution whose money, whose funding, which allows them to do all of this, comes off the back of the innocents. It's stolen from them one way or another, be it directly through taxation, stealing from future generations. That's how it is that they fund it. So you look at the $30 trillion worth of debt, and they still continue to spend, as well as print. So they're devaluing your money in the process, so your money doesn't go as far. Right now, everybody's crying about inflation right now. It's almost like there's a group of people that warned you against that as well. But these people have no incentive to do right. I don't care how well-intended you might think they are. They have no incentive to do right. None. It doesn't exist. Because it's not like you as a business owner, where you say, okay, if I don't serve the people, if I don't serve my customers, or I do something wrong to multiple customers, even one, depending on where you're at, it could derail your entire job. So, of course, you're incentivized to treat your customers right, provide a product that they actually want, solve problems in the process, which is what we do within the marketplace. There are things that people want, things that people need, things that people desire, and you step in to fill that role. The state does not operate like that. Federal government, state government, doesn't matter. They do not operate like that. Their money is essentially guaranteed. So when they have disastrous policies that, albeit sometimes they parade around as if they're trying to help you out, like they're helping you out by raising the minimum wage. No, they're not. No, they're not. But these disastrous economic policies, you have to understand how much of a psychopath or just a disconnected asshole you have to be in order to sit up here and watch millions upon millions of people drive themselves to depression, drive themselves to economic insecurity, broke, losing business, being put out of work, and to still come out of that. And for a virus with a 99% survival rate, one that you overestimated disastrously, albeit. I mean, you overstated what this was. We know that. We knew this earlier on, but you kept kicking the can down the road. All of what you said was supposed to happen to the countries as well as the states that decided, you know what, we're not going to listen to you anymore. Well, they didn't get the apocalypse that was promised. But you understand how much of a dipshit asshole that you have to be in order to look at that and then to be able to go on the other side and say, y'all need to do more. This is why, and I end on this, I continue to say that decentralization is the only way that we get out of this disaster. That's pulling the rug from under them, not switching around the chairs, playing musical chairs, essentially, with who fills these roles. We remove the power. But a lot of you authoritarian asshats who have desire to sit there and control everybody, those are the ones that you're fighting against. And not all of them work for the government. Some of them may seek the power, but not all of them work directly with the government or are paid by the government. They just utilize that, whether it be through voting habits or what have you, to then control their neighbor. Because again, these authoritarian asshats often live next door to you. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Cannon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.